Hello everyone, my name is Vishal and I am a digital analytics professional with over 7 years of experience in this domain. Welcome to the ninth video in this series called Learn BigQuery the Spreadsheet Way. If you haven't checked out the previous videos, I would recommend you to watch them before this one. In this video, I am going to teach you how to use conditional expressions in BigQuery. Without further ado, let's dive into it right away. These are the different functions that we are going to learn today. If, execute based on a single condition. Case, execute based on multiple conditions. If null, execute based on a single non-null condition. Coalesce, execute based on multiple non-null conditions. We are going to use COVID-19 public dataset with data for 4th of April. Once again, the basic syntax of a query is keyword select followed by the fields that we want to select, keyword from followed by the table name, keyword where followed by the condition. Now let's look at the different conditional expressions. First one, if. Let's say we want to get a value yes or no based on if value of deaths is greater than recovered or greater than confirmed. Okay, to do this in Google Sheets, I would use an if condition. If I2 greater than A2, if condition is true, I want yes. If it is false, I want no. Okay, now let's see how we do this in BigQuery. So expression that we use is if it's greater than recovered, yes, no, and let's call the field as deaths exceed recovered. Okay, so we get this new column with values yes and no depending on this condition. So we get no, no, yes, no, 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 yes, no, no, and so on. So the values match. Okay. Now let's move on to the next expression, which is the case expression. So as we saw in the if expression, we can only use a single condition. But let's say we want to have multiple conditions and values based on those multiple conditions. So in that case, we use case expression. So let's say we want to have the instead of values yes and no, we want to have value more, equal, or less depending on the values of deaths compared to recovered. So if that's more than recovered, then we want the value more. If it is equal, then the value should be equal. If it is less, then the value should be less. Let's see how we do this using case statement. Case. So the syntax is case when condition then. So in this case, the condition would be that's greater than recovered, then we want output to be more. When it is equal, then the output should be equal. When it is less, then the output should be less. And we call this field as depth versus cover. This is the case statement. So now we have three conditions. In the previous example, when we use the if statement, we had only one condition. But now we can have three or as many conditions as we want. And three different output values. Let's run this query. Okay. So we get the value less, more, and equal. All right. Now let's move on to the next one, which is if null execute based on a single non-null condition. So let's take an example here. So if you notice the state value, the province underscore state field has got null values. Sometimes the values are null. So let's say we want to replace the default null value with some string. So how do we do that? Using if null expression. We call the function if null. We want to check the field province underscore state, and we want to pass the value, a default value when the province underscore state is null. So let's say we can pass state not available as to check the value of the field province underscore state. If it is null, return the value state not available. If it is not null, then return the value which is available in this field. Let's run this query. Okay, so whenever we have null value, we get the default value state not available, state not available, and whenever the value is not null, we get the same value. So this can be used when we want to replace the null value with some default value. So this is the if null expression. Now the last one, ls. This is used to execute based on multiple non-null conditions. So let's take an example here that we want to get only one value from province state or country underscore region, but we give a first preference to province underscore state. If that is null, then we want the value of country. How do we do that? Call the function okay. So now what this function does is it will check each of the fields in the same sequence as provided. Whenever it finds the first non-null field, it uses that. So in this example, it will first check that if province underscore state is not null, then select that field. If it is null, go to the next one. If that is not null, select that one. In this way, we can have multiple expressions. Let's run this query. So now our location field has got country for these records because province is null. For this record, we have the state value. And once again, when the state is null, we get the country value. So using this function, we can compare multiple expressions and select the first one which is not null. So just to summarize, these are the different conditional expressions that we learned today. If, case, if null, coalesce. With this, we come to an end of this ninth video. I hope you liked it. Please drop in your feedback, questions, or suggestions in the comment box. In the next video, I will cover a new topic. Thank you for your time and goodbye.